What's up everybody, welcome back. So we almost have the basics for our team DeathMatch game mode finished. One very important part though would be the team colors. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to make sure the headers in the lobby will have the correct colors. If we switch characters for the lobby, they will also update to the correct color. And if we go in game, we will also have the correct matching colors on our characters. So that's what we're going to do today. If you enjoy the series, please consider leaving a like, and if you want to get your hands on the project, you can become a member of my new Patreon or just join the YouTube channel, and then you will get access to the premium channels in the Discord, and those will also give you access to the project files. So with all of that stuff out of the way, let's set up our team colors. So first of all, a pretty important part of this would be to make sure that the character customization table is actually set up correctly. So right now I do not actually have it set up entirely because I restarted the project and never got around to it. But to make sure, so I'm going to launch the project and show you. You want to set it up, so if you select a character, right now if I select Quinn Green, I will get a two-tone character, and that's not what we want. So if we want to select green, we want to make sure that our entire character is green. So how do we do that? If we go to the character customization table, and for example we have the Quinn blue line over here, so we expand the default model, and then we have the two skin options over here. So if we expand those as well, so you can see the default skin that we can select over here, that's the blue skin. And then we have green, gray and red as an optional. And if we go to the green character, we have the default skin also set to the blue skin, and then also green, gray and red. So we want to make sure that the default skin over here is actually the green instance. So we can just switch this one around, Quinn to green, and then make this one the blue. And make sure that we update the name over here. And then you want to make sure that over here for the second skin, although it is green, this one needs to say blue as well. So these names match up again. And then this will work. And then over here you have the male character, so that's the other model for this character. And you also want to make sure that you update it over here. So over here the default skin is many blue. We want to make sure that the default skin is green, and then the selectable skin is blue. And change the name over here to blue, and do the same thing over here. And that should make everything work. So I'm also going to add the gray and the red character in here, and then I'm going to get back to you guys. So I changed my character customization table, and right now if I go in game and change my character, you can see the entire mesh is the correct color. So make sure that you have that set up correctly. And then first of all, let's take a look at the actual lobby. So we can go to the widgets folder, open the lobby menu. And to make sure that our team headers will have the correct color, we need to go into the update themes function. So let's go in here. And over here in the middle for loop, where we actually construct the borders, we want to change a few things. So over here we have the set brush color. We're going to disconnect this node and reconnect this one directly. Then we want to move this to the end over here. So we have the branch where we check if we are using an auto assign result or not, and if we are using auto assign in general. So if we are using auto assign, we simply want to make the border black like we used to. So we're going to grab the set brush color and plug this one into the upper branch over here. Okay. Reconnect this one and make sure for the target you actually grab the correct border. So over here you can simply grab it from the beginning. So you want to grab the construct border that's actually connected to the for loop. And we have a pin over here for it. So we can plug it in over here to the set brush color. And then for the lower branch, we want to actually add a switch on integer. So let's add a little bit of room over here. And then we can grab the integer from the for loop. So we have the green pin over here that comes from the for loop. and we can simply drag off here and grab a switch on int. So we want to switch for each team that we have, though, so that could be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we can plug these one in, and we could get rid of the default pin. That doesn't really matter though. And now we can simply set the correct color for the correct team. So we can grab these set brush colors and we can copy them 4 times. And simply hook everything up. So make sure that you connect this one into all of the switch on integers. And now the only thing you need to take care of is that for this one, oh no, you actually want to grab the same border. I'm sorry. So you can simply grab the same target that you used for the brush color in the upper branch and plug those in these ones as well. And then we can simply set the color by hand. So for the first team, I'm gonna make this the, let me see, this was the blue team for me. So I'm gonna make the first team blue. And then the second team is going to be green. And I actually want to bump up the alpha, by the way. There we go. So my third team is going to be gray. So let's make it a little darker gray, something like this. And then my last team is going to be red. That's more orange. Let's make sure it's actually red. Oh, freaking. There we go. And make sure that we connect everything back up to the construct vertical box. So that should be good to go. Now this will actually take care of the colors for the header in the lobby. So that was pretty easy. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the lobby character, and that's actually going to be the most work. To make our lobby character work, we want to make a few changes in the menu game mode. So let's go to the framework and open our menu game mode first. In here we have an event that we use to update the character in the lobby, and we want to take a look at this one. So update selected character, and then if we scroll all the way to the end over here, we want to be able to reuse some part of this. So we have the multicast set player name. We're going to keep this node, and then everything that's behind here, we're going to select it and collapse this to a function. So right click, collapse to function. And I'm going to call this function set lobby character model and skin, for example. That's a bit long name, but okay. Set lobby character model and skin. So we probably want to clean up the inputs over here. So if we go into the function, so the first input pin, that's our lobby character. So we want to make sure that this is our BP lobby character. Then the second one is the character row name. So we can simply add character in front of here. The third one is our model name. And then the input pin 2 is our skin name. So we have this set up as a function and we can use it later. So compile and save it. And then we're going to create a new function in here as well. And I'm going to call that GameMode TDM override lobby character. So GameMode team DeathMatch override lobby character. And let's set it up. So for this one, we want to give it an input, and that's a boolean called use override. And we're also going to add the player controller. So let's add a second input, the player controller. And that's our menu player controller. And let me see, menu controller. There we go. And so first of all, we're going to make sure that we find the correct index for the player controller. So we're going to drag all of our connected controllers, drag off here and find an item, plug in the controller. So we have the correct index for the controller that we're working with, and we're going to store this in a local variable. So promote to local variable, and that's the local player index. And make sure that we plug it in. Then we're going to check if we're actually using the override or not. So let's grab a branch and plug in the use override input. And then we can make the false bin pretty simple. So we can simply call the event that we just changed, and that was our update selected character. So that's on the game mode. We can simply call it over here and make sure that we plug in the local player index that we just retrieved over here. So that's really all we need to do for the false branch. And for the true branch, we need to make sure that we get the correct team ID for this player. So we can get all of the team IDs. And we're going to get a copy from here. And we want to get it from the local player index. And then we can use this to switch on it. So we can drag off here and switch on integer. Plug this one into group in. So I'm going to have a maximum of 4 teams. So I'm going to add 0, 1, 2, and 3. Get rid of the default pin. And then we can simply set up the characters and the skins. So I'm going to add local variables for that. And the first one is the local character row name. So that's a name variable. And then we can duplicate it, and that's the local model name. And let's duplicate it again, and that's the local skin name. So for the character row name, let's drag it in here, copy it 4 times. And then we want to use the character row names from the data table. So for me, that's Quinn Blue, Quinn Green, Quinn Red, and Quinn Gray. So we can simply type them in over here. Quinn Blue. And then we have Quinn Green. Oh, that's actually with N, come on. And then we have Quinn Gray. And the last one is going to be Quinn Red. And that's with a capital R. I'm not sure if it really matters, but let's do it. So then we want to get the model name. And for this one, I'm actually going to use the model that the player has selected the last time. So we can actually still have male and female models depending on the profile of the player. So we can plug in the model names over here. And then we want to make sure that we grab all of our player profiles. And from here we can get a copy of our own profile by using the local player index again. Then we can break the profile over here and simply grab the model name from the player's profile. So plug it into the model names, make sure you connect up all 4 of them. And we could get rid of the unconnected pins, so this looks a little bit cleaner. And then the last thing we need to do is set up the skin name. So again, we're going to grab 4 of these nodes, plug them in over here. And make sure that you set the correct skin name, and that should be default for all of them if you set up the character customization table like I showed at the beginning. So we can simply grab the default skins for all of these characters. So I'm going to make sure that this doesn't save on the player profile. So if we go back from a team deathmatch game to, for example, a free-for-all free-for-all game, it will just load the last selected character model and skin from the profile again, and you are not stuck with the colored model from the team deathmatch game, if that makes sense. So this doesn't store on the profile, it's just an override pure for the team deathmatch lobby. So I wanted to make that sure as well. So now we can actually grab our set lobby character model and skin function, drag it in over here and connect all of the branches and then plug in our local variables. So we have the local character row name and the local model name and the local skin name. And now we need to make sure that we grab the lobby character, and we can simply grab it from the player controller. So if we go back to the beginning to the input, we can drag off the player controller and get the lobby character that belongs to that player controller. So the BP lobby character that's stored on here, and plug it into the set character model and skin as well. So this should be the override lobby character function. Let's make sure that all pins are connected, and that looks okay. So we can compile and save that, and I think we're done on the game mode for now. So we can open up our menu player controller. So that's the menu controller over here. And in here, we're going to add a new custom event. So let's create a new custom event. And we're going to use this to tell if we want to override the character or not. So this is going to be server override character, or make it lobby character. So override lobby character. And this needs to be replicated to run on the server. And then we're going to give it an input, and that's the use override boolean. And then I actually also want to store this boolean on this player controller to make sure that we don't keep updating it if we don't need to. So I'm going to add a new boolean in here and call it use lobby character override. So that's a bool, that's good to go. And then over here for the event, the first thing I want to do is grab a branch. And I want to check if this actually changes or not. So we're going to drag off the use override and compare it. And simply leave this one unchecked. So if the new setting is false, and we're going to grab the current setting on the lobby character and drag off here as well and compare it as well. So if the new setting is false and the previous setting was also false, so nothing changed actually, then we're not going to do anything. So let's hook this up to an AND node. This is going to be the condition. And only if this condition is false, then we're going to continue. So then we're going to grab our lobby character override boolean, plug it in, and make sure that we actually change it to the correct setting. So plug it in from the event input. There we go. And then we simply want to get our menu game mode, so we can get the game mode. Game mode, oh really. And we need to cast it to our menu game mode. And from the menu game mode, we can call our override lobby character function that we just created. So that's not server, but that's override lobby character. And then for the use override, we can just plug in the boolean from the player controller. And the player controller is a reference to ourself. So we can just plug in ourselves. And that should take care of this event as well. So compile and save the menu controller. And now the last thing we need to do for the lobby characters is go to the lobby menu and make some changes in there. So let's open up our lobby menu widget. And in here we want to go to the update themes function. So let's open up update themes. And we want to go all the way to the beginning over here and make some room. So over here we're going to define if we want to use the character override. So first of all, we want to make sure that we have our menu controller in here. So let's get our owning player, and that returns the player controller. So we can cast this to our menu controller and plug it in over here. From the menu controller, we can make sure that we set the correct override by switching on the game mode. So if we grab our game modes over here, and that's an array, so we're going to get a copy and then grab the game mode index. So that's the current game mode that we're using. And from here we can switch on the game modes again. So we're going to grab a switch, plug it in. And for the endless wave and the free-for-all, we don't want to use the override. So we're going to drag off the menu controller and say server override lobby character. Plug it in for endless wave and free-for-all and make sure it's set to false. And then for the team DeathMatch branch, we're going to set it to true. And then plug everything back in. So that will take care of the override in here. If we actually plug in the target for the second node as well. And then we also want to make sure that the players cannot select a character if we are playing Team Deathmatch. And for that one, we can go to the update GameMode function. So this executes on all of the players and not simply for the server. So what we can do over here is make a little bit of room. And then again, we're going to grab a switch for the game mode. So switch on game modes, plug it in over here. If we are playing Endless Wave or Free-for-All, we actually want to enable the character menu. So we're going to look for the button character menu, drag it in over here, set is enabled. So for Endless Wave and Free-for-All, make sure it's enabled and plug it in. And then for Team Deathmatch, make sure that the button is disabled, so we cannot select the character if we're playing Team Deathmatch. And plug the button into both of the nodes. Okay, so that will take care of the lobby, and all of that stuff also took care of the lobby character. So now the only thing left is make sure that our character in-game actually updates, and that's not really too bad. So we can use a little bit of a function from the menu game mode. So let's open this one up for the TDM override lobby character. So if we grab the switch on int over here with the local model names and the local skin names, we can simply copy this stuff. And then we're going to open up our shooter game mode, because that's the one that actually spawns the characters in game. And over here we have two functions that do that. So spawn default pawn 4. Let's open this one first. And in here we simply want to switch on the game mode again, so we can grab all of this stuff and make a little bit of room over here. And we have the game mode inside of our variables, so drag it in, and we're going to switch on the current game mode that we are playing. So for Endless Wave and Free-for-All, we can plug it back in to the existing setup, and then we can paste the stuff that we just copied, plug it in over here. So for the Team Deathmatch branch, plug it into the switch on int. We're going to grab the team ID from the profile from the player, and we're also going to grab the model name from the player profile, so it will actually load the correct model and only change the color. And then for the character class, we want to grab the local character class variable and make sure that we simply paste it over here 4 times and set up the correct character. So plug everything in. And then the first character is going to be my blue one, the second one green, the third one gray, and the last one red. So we can simply select our Quinn blue. And over here, Quinn green. And then Quinn gray. And the last one is Quinn red. And then make sure that we connect the execution back up to the set spawn rotation, so the rest of the function will take care of spawning and setting the correct skin. So now we want to grab all of this stuff, and we can actually grab the switch on game mode as well. Copy this, and then we need to do the same thing in our own function. So that's the respawn pawn for controller. So that's pretty much a duplicate of the other one, but this one isn't blueprint callable, so we had to make our own one as well. So we're going to grab this stuff and make a little bit of room again. And then we can simply paste in everything from the other function over here. So first switch on the game mode and then plug in the Endless Wave and Free-for-All back into the existing setup. Make sure that we connect the new execution pins to the set spawn rotation. And we want to grab our team ID again and make sure that we plug in our model name. There we go. And those two functions should take care of our character in game. So right now we should be able to run a little test and see if everything is working. So I'm going to grab a 4-player game in here. And let me set it up quickly and I'll be back. So back in the lobby, and right now if I'm going to switch my game mode to Team Deathmatch, you will see the headers will have the correct color. And if I will switch teams with one of the players, you will see their lobby character actually updates. So that seems to be working. So let's grab a different color for each character, and then let's go in game and see if that actually loads as well. Ready up. So we have 4 different characters, 4 different colors, and let's start the game. There we go. And as you can see, everyone is spawning at its own spawn location with its own team color. So we have that set up and good to go as well. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, and I'll be back soon with more stuff. Talk to you later, guys. Bye bye.